Purport to the verse 3.15.37. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord declares that his devotees cannot be vanquished at any time. Name bhaktya prayasati. The Lord could understand that the quarrel between the doormen and the sages was taking a different turn. And therefore, he instantly came out of his place and went to the spot to stop the further aggravation so that his devotees, the doormen, might not be vanquished for good. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The translation of this 3.15.37 is: at that very moment, the Lord, who is called Padmanabh because of his lotus growing from his navel, and who is delight of the righteous, learned about the insult offered by his own servants to the saints. Accompanied by his spouse, the goddess of fortune, he went to the spot on this very feat sought for by recluses and great sages. So welcome to this unique Bhagavatam class. I was just thinking that when the Bhagavatam was going on between Shukdev and Parikshit Maharaj and the sages, or the Bhagavatam which was going on in the Naimisharanya with the Suta Goswami and 88,000 sages, I'm sure there was no Pandal, right? And it was not going on only daytime, morning 3 hours, evening 3 hours. It was going for 24 hours. So, because there was no scripture as such from which Shukdevji was reading, so he did not need light. He was speaking from the scripture of his inside his heart and brain. And I asked for one more glass of water. They didn't drink water also. There is no food, there is no water, there is no rest, there is no break, there is no comfort break, nothing was there. So what was the success of that Bhagavatam? The success was most inquisitive, interested audience and most enthusiastic speaker. And I was just also thinking, what was the time period during which Srimad Bhagavatam of Shukdevji happened? It's in the month of Bhadrapad. Because Bhadrapad, I think Purnima is called Bhadra Purnima. At that time, Srimad Bhagavatam was completed. That is the last day of Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can go back 7 days and you can understand from 9th day. From Nomi day, Srimad Bhagavatam began. And on Purnima day, it ended. Right? So it must be rainy season, 100%. So there is no record of whether it rained in between or not. But we have one record that Bhagavatam went on. Whether there was breeze coming or not coming, whether there was light or whether there was darkness, Srimad Bhagavatam continued. Right? So similarly, in our life also, there are always different situations happening. Right? Sometimes there is heat, sometimes there is cold, sometimes there is rain, sometimes there is success, sometimes there is failure, sometimes there is respect, sometimes there is dishonor, sometimes there is youth, sometimes there is old age, sometimes there is good health, and most of the time there is sickness in the material world. So these things keep on happening. But in spite of all these things, we as aspiring devotees are advised to keep on continuing on our endeavor in pure devotional service. Nothing should actually stop our endeavor to attain Krishna. We heard in childhood, the show must go on. Whatever happens, it may be a little altered, but show cannot be shut down. So, um, I remember we were in Bhuj, Rapar, in the earthquake 2001, which happened on 26 January 2001. And we went there immediately next day. And then we established ourselves in one hospital, which was like closed down. Everybody was out of the hospital, and we just thought it's a good space to occupy and make it our base to start the services. So, along with medical relief, food relief, we also started spiritual care program. And spiritual care program is Mangalarti, Kirtan, counseling to people one to one, like that, and also Bhagavatam class, Sandhya Arti, morning Arti, everything was there. And when there is earthquake, there are aftershocks. For a month or so, earthquake shocks of lesser Richter scale keep happening. And they keep happening any time of the day. Every 20 minutes also it can happen. So it's like the major earthquake was about 8 Richter scale, for example. So the others will be like 5.6, 4.6, they go on reducing. They are also big. So every now and then there would be earthquakes and a huge cloud of dust rising in the sky and people running like crazy in all different directions. I remember I was giving Bhagavatam class. And in the Bhagavatam class, the people who had come with me to serve the people were there also. And also many people who were the victims or affected people from the Rapar area were also there in Bhagavatam. And it was at the gate of the hospital. Like suppose I am giving Bhagavatam class at the entrance where the security guard is there. It's like that Bhagavatam class is going on, because if you are inside and the quake comes, then how do you come down? So it was right at the door. And I was at the door and the audience was out of the door. It's like that. And Radha Madhav Shloka started talking. And the earthquake aftershock came. And you cannot believe that I moved from my place 4 feet ahead. The earthquake moved me from my place 4 feet, and everybody just ran away. I just sat there only. Because I thought, if I'm going to die, then I will die after running also. Right? If I get up and start running, still the death will catch me. So if that has to come, then it will catch me here or there anyway. So why not? Why to get up? So I sat there only. After 10 minutes, everything settled down. Everybody came back. I started my class. Continued my class. The point is that that time also I remember Srila Prabhupada in Kolkata, who was frying puris for offering to Krishna, and bombing began. So everybody said, run, run, run. So Prabhupada said, even if I run, the bomb can fall on the road also where I am running. Why should I give up my service to Krishna? I am already engaged in service to Krishna. If death has to come, better it comes while I am serving Krishna. Why should it come when I am running away out of fear of my life? I don't know where I will reach. This I remember this. So, life is always filled with such things. And most important aspect of these happenings is not expected. It happens at the most unexpected moment. It will never alarm you that now, today at 7 o'clock, lights will go off. So, before only you plan your Bhagavatam class in Babulnath temple or whatever, in seashore, in the open area. You don't have that facility. Everything in the material world is always miserable, but the worst part of the misery is it's never known when it will come. But still, in spite of these uncertainties and well-known uncertain calamities or miseries or mishaps, the devotee should be determined to continue their efforts to attain the lotus feet of Krishna. And when we continue our efforts in the awkward conditions, we get much more merit and benefit of our sadhana. Because sadhana done in comfortable situation is one thing, and sadhana done in the most difficult situation is another thing. If there was tea break, lunch break, breakfast break and long menu in Bhagavatam of Shukdev, then the audience wouldn't have received that kind of benefit. It's also proved in the story of Dundukari and Gokarna, right? They were there very attentive, but they used to sleep in the night. So only Viman came for Dundukari, who, because he didn't have body, he didn't have anything to do with food and sleep and anything. So he was meditating throughout the day. When the Bhagavatam class would get over, he would meditate on the katha spoken on that day. And till the time the next katha begins, he was meditating. And the next day, the next katha would start, and everybody would go to sleep in the end, and then he would be meditating. So only one Viman came. But when next time Gokarna did Bhagavatam, everybody followed the same schedule of Dundukari previously. So there were hundreds and thousands of airplanes which came from Vaikuntha, and everybody was taken, one person with one Vaikuntha Vimana. Naturally, the benefit is very clear now. Even Gokarna asked, I was doing katha, but Viman didn't come for me. So even if we are doing katha or listening katha, if we are doing it in difficult situation with determination, with great desire, with love and devotion, the benefits are much intense and much faster and much larger. So actually speaking, the devotees should get extraordinarily enthusiastic when difficulties come. Because now, whatever I do, I'll be rewarded with hundreds and thousands of times more spiritual benefit. Not phalecha, but I will be more closer to Krishna. I will feel Krishna's presence much more intensely than before, than in the comfortable situation. Similarly, we are here in the Bhagavatam shloka today, where you are standing Jai and Vijay nicely at the gate of the Vaikuntha. I mean in Vaikuntha only, not necessarily that you are not in the Vaikuntha. You are in the Vaikuntha area, basically. Like even if I am at the gate there, I am in temple only. I am in temple complex. So they are standing there in a very wonderful, eternal, liberated situation. Very beautiful body, very nicely decorated with ornaments, very nicely, adorned with beautiful weapons. They are also beautiful. They are not ghastly or fearful looking. When you hold Shankha Chakra Padma Gada, then Chakra and Gada also are very beautiful. They are very attractive. If you read previous slokas, you will understand. They were looking very beautiful. It's not that they were looking very fearful or fierce. Ravan would look fierce, but they were not looking fearful. And they are comfortable, everything is wonderful, and the four sages come. Never did they expect that this would happen. What is going to happen now? By the will of the Lord, they felt that, why these naked children should enter? They are not qualified to enter. This is not the playground. They should go and play somewhere. Why the children who are 5-year-old, 4-year-old, without having any clothes, wondering why they should come to Vaikuntha? So he stopped them. But very soon, instantly came to know that they are not small children. They are the most vayovruddha, most elderly. In Hindi we say buzurg, most elderly people. They were the most vayovruddha. Of all the, in that particular area, they were the most aged people. And when they were about to curse, that time they realized, we are very sorry. So life is always like that. Things happen all of a sudden. And the way we react depends upon how we cultivated our Krishna consciousness when there was no disaster accordingly. I mean, Tatha Kathit, there was no disaster as such, everything was peaceful. How did we cultivate our Krishna consciousness? What is our resultant Krishna consciousness at the soul level? That will respond to the uncertain or unknown calamity. Without advertisement, the calamity came. So it is always said that if you work hard in peace, that means you sweat more in peace, then you bleed less in the war. So the most important thing is how we react to a calamity depends upon how we perform our sadhana when there is no calamity. When there is no calamity and we do sadhana most intently, most seriously, then calamity doesn't make much difference because you are already highly Krishna conscious and your response is also Krishna conscious. So immediately they said, oh, we committed offense to you, we deserve, so whatever punishment is there, you can give us. They didn't argue, okay, why did you come without wearing clothes? Naturally I am supposed to guard here, so it's not my fault. Why are you giving curse to me? But because they are highly Krishna conscious, they immediately said, it's all right, you can punish us the way you want, where you feel fit. So there's a story behind it. Why did this thing happen? I will read some of my notes. One time, Lakshmi Devi, she's always massaging Lord's lotus feet in Vaikuntha. Yeah? And then one time, always sages come. Those who are qualified, they keep coming to Vaikuntha to glorify. They sit there and they glorify the Lord. And Lakshmi Devi is also hearing all the glory. So one time the sages glorified said, the Lord is softer than the lotus and harder than thunderbolt. So Lakshmi Devi very well knew how soft he is because she is always massaging his toes, his soles, his heels, everything she is massaging up to maybe till knees. She is always massaging, so she knows how soft it is. And we also should know that the Lord's body is softer than butter also. Especially when Krishna took birth, Yashoda Devi and Rohini Devi always had a difficulty how to lift this boy, how to lift Krishna and Balram. Because the body is so soft. When we lift the children, we lift through the armpits, we lift them. So their fingers should meet. And they would feel that our fingers are so hard actually, which are also soft. But compared to Krishna's body, they appear to be very hard. So our fingers are so hard that it must be hurting Krishna Balaram when we lift. So they were always wondering how to lift these people, these boys. So soft their bodies were. So soft. Like sometimes it is said that if you press Krishna's soul with a thumb, it would become red in that area. So that's why the gopis would always cry, thinking that, oh, he's walking barefoot in the forest. What must be happening when the pebble may not be sharp, may be rounded, but it must be touching the feet and feet must be getting red. So they would cry at home. That kind of softness Krishna's body had. So similarly, Vishnu's body also like that only. So she knew exactly how soft they were. And she knew also Vishnu, her husband, how kind, how compassionate, how soft-hearted he was. But she didn't believe that he is harder than the thunderbolt. So that doubt came in her mind while she was massaging and hearing the glory of Vishnu. So as cognizant of everything that's happening, Vishnu came to know what is happening in the mind of Lakshmi Devi. So he thought I should actually prove to her that I can be harder than thunderbolt also. So actually it was his arrangement that he organized this Leela. So that it's a long Leela, it's not instant answer to her doubt, but he organized a Leela in which he made the Kumaras come there and he made the Vaikuntha Dwarpals to so-called offend them, get the curse and then come down as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. And when they came as Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, while killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord took birth as Narsingha Bhagavan. And when Narsingha Bhagavan appeared, it was like the supreme most anger personified. Anger everybody knows. But what can be the highest supreme anger? What can be the quantity, volume, magnanimity, intensity, sound, decibels of that? Nobody can imagine. And as Narasimha Dev, Vishnu exhibited the highest anger. and the harshest possible activity in killing Hiranyakashipu. I mean, if you take a sword or take an arrow and chant a mantra and show throw astra, you have seen Ramayana, Mahabharata, so many things are happening. But here, there are so many shastra, astra, but nothing is being utilized, and nails are being utilized. And such ghastly situation, his abdomen is torn apart, and intestines are taken out, and garlanding himself, it's like we say, it's a bloody mess everywhere. It's a blood and blood and blood. Hands and body and his chest and his dhoti, everything is full blood. And that day was not sufficient. The Lord, already had torn the abdomen, so surgically things open. So he put his hand inside the chest cage. And like he pluck a fruit from a tree, he plucked the heart from there. And he, as a ball, he took and just threw it on the ground. And that dead body, which is full of blood, was kicked away by Narasimhadev. From all the Singhasan to his lap, from lap to Singhasan to down the steps, and all the way in the assembly of Darbar. And all this scene, I am just, with my puny eloquence, I am explaining to you. But if you read the details of Srimad Bhagavatam, how he was killed, it was so ghastly that from afternoon time the Lord appeared. People think that he appeared in the evening. No, he appeared in the afternoon time. And all the time from Madhyana to the Sandhya, he was just playing. He was just having war. Like the cat plays with the mouse, or cat plays with a ball of cotton. Whatever. You throw a ball and the cat will keep playing with the ball. So in that, whatever you get, 6 hours or whatever, 7 hours, there was Lord purposely doing in such a way that he was losing, he was winning, he was losing, he was winning. So when he was winning, the demigods would come out of clouds. And he was apparently losing, they would hide him behind the clouds. But they are thinking that if the Lord loses and Hiranyakashipu wins, and if he comes to know that we were watching, then he will kill us also. So when Lord would start winning, becoming victorious or superior to in the warfare, then they would come out. So that shows that they didn't have faith that the Lord will definitely kill him. They are coming in and out, thinking that, if he wins, we will come out. If he loses, we will hide ourselves and run away. So they were all there, demigods. And then finally when the Lord, the way he killed, everybody was trembling. So much so that Lord killed him, plucked his heart, threw it away, and still was roaring. And then all Hiranyakashipu's soldiers and brothers, everybody came, and Lord killed everybody, tore all of them apart. And everybody is now finished. Those are supposed to be killed. They are all finished. Only who are remaining is demigods who are watching there. But they were trembling, and Lord Shiva was roaring and roaring and roaring. Although he had completed his task, he should have been peaceful, but he was so angry because his devotee was offended. So everybody was trembling. And Brahma, everybody is looking at Brahma. Brahma is looking at everybody. That we need to pacify the Lord. Who will pacify the Lord? So everybody is looking at each other. But finally looked at Brahma. Brahma, you are the boss, so you can do the needful. Brahma said, I don't know, I cannot do this. He is also scared. So they thought Lakshmi, she is his wife. She is at his feet all the time. So why she should be worried? But surprisingly, Lakshmi gave the answer, I don't know this person. I have not seen him. So actually speaking, one whom I am facing, I don't know him. Because she didn't know how harder than thunderbolt my husband can become. So there she was convinced, and she said, I am not the person who can go and garland him, at least now. And then Prahlad was told and Prahlad went. So thus Lakshmi Devi was convinced, my husband can be harder than thunderbolt also. So this brings us to next point, that Jay and Vijay, they are so wonderful devotees actually. They were ready to be, they were so surrendered that they were willing to sacrifice their eternal position at the gate of Vaikuntha. It's like a very celebrated position. You are in a very wonderful position. Everybody is respecting, although you are a gatekeeper, but you are a gatekeeper of Vaikuntha. You are guarding the door of Lord's eternal abode. But they were so surrendered, they were willing to sacrifice their eternal position at the gate of Vaikuntha and to become demons and villains in the material world just to fulfill the desire of the Lord. Lord had some plan, so they were willing. We are now saying that, oh, see what is happening here is what the Kumara said, you are having a differential vision. You feel that we are not fit to be here. And you are thinking that everybody else is fit, but these children are not fit here. And there is no differential vision in the Vaikuntha. You are not supposed to have differential vision. And you have a differential vision, so you are fit to be in the material world. So in one sense they were blamed. They were like in the negative side. But they accepted that situation also. We are also reading. You guys are not fit to be here. You are fit to be in the material world. While they were not like that. So, we should appreciate the surrendered situation of the Yannisha. They were willing to do anything for the Lord. What was the conclusion? The opportunity to serve the Lord and please the Lord or please His devotees is more valuable than just being close to the Lord. So there are so many examples in scriptures of this particular fact, that being close to the Lord is good if you get it by default, it happens to be. But if you are given an order which takes you away from the Lord, far, far away from the Lord, the devotee should know that being engaged in the service to the Lord is much more being closer to the Lord at heart in the spiritual sense than just being physically close to Him. So we know the story of Uddhava. Uddhava was so close to the Lord that from all points of view, material point of view, emotional point of view, social point of view, spiritual point of view, you take any angle, Uddhava was the highest devotee. Even the gopis would feel, even people in Dwarka would feel, that this person is, where he is not with Krishna, where he is not with Dwarkadish. He is always there. You name in the assembly, he is there as mantri. At friendly level, at home, he is there. In the day, he is there. In the night, he is there. When he is going to go for hunting, shikar, he is with him. He eats with him. He dines with him. He sleeps with him. He talks with him. He jokes with him. That means that all rasas he was there in one sense. Different kinds of moods. Everywhere he was closest to the Lord. And gopis in Vrindavan would feel how lucky this person is. He is never not with Krishna. In the real sense, not in the spiritual sense. In the physical sense also, he was never not with Krishna. Plus, he was a great devotee, so he was always thinking about Krishna. His mind, soul, body was totally with Krishna. But then, to achieve the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis, he left that closest possible position of near Krishna and became the blade of grass in Vrindavan. And then he felt that, before that he felt that I am so close physically with Krishna and these gopis are so far from Krishna, hankering and crying. But I understand by being with them that they are closest to Krishna in the most subtlest of platforms. And I feel I am closest to Krishna, much closer to them than them. That's why he came back and told Krishna the message, the report of his visit to Vrindavan. He said, I am going to Vrindavan. He went to Vrindavan. And he did tapasya to come, actually, in one sense, from Lokik material sense, from the highest position to the lowest position. Nobody does tapasya to become lower than what they are. All of us, materially and spiritually, do tapasya to go higher than where we are. So two people have done tapasya like this, Brahmaji and Uddhava. From the highest position, they have done tapasya to go down. Brahmaji from the highest position of the first citizen of universe to become stone. And Uddhava from the closest position to Krishna is the tapasya to become blade of grass. Second person is Hanumanji. Hanumanji also wanted to go with Lord Ram when the Leela ended. So the Lord said, you are not coming. You stay back and glorify me. Until the time my glorifications are going on, you will stay in the material world only. So Hanumanji was so close to Lord Ram. Since the time he met Lord Ram at Kishkinda, he never left Lord Ram actually. He was always by the side of the Ram. Every single thing. He went to serve by finding Sita. He was closest to the heart of Lord Ram. So in every sense he was closest to Lord Ram, but when he was told to stay back, he didn't question or argue, oh no my Lord, I want to stay. He stayed back. Today also he is there in Ashta Chiranjeevi. Wherever we chant the name of Lord Ram or we glorify Lord Ram, Hanumanji is right there. When there is nobody in the audience, we should know that Hanumanji is always there. Uddhava also went to meet Krishna at the end of the annihilation, whatever. Prabhas Kshetra, Yajna, Vasudev performed. So he asked, I'm sure, I think you are leaving. I can understand from your activities. So when you are leaving, please make sure that you take me with you. Whichever place you go, hell, heaven, whatever you go, and whatever service I may have, may not have, but please keep me next to you. And the Lord told him, no, you cannot come with me. You have a very important service to deliver my wives. When I will go, they will cry, and who will deliver them? I have already planned to deliver Yadavas and everybody else, but I give that task of delivering my wife to you. So Uddhava chose to remain behind to be of use to the Lord in his service of delivering his wives. So he stayed at the bank of Kusum Sarovar. His wives came crying. He told them Bhagavatam for 30 days and they were delivered back home, back to God. Another example is Dila Shuka, the very speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was a parrot in the hands of Radharani. And how close he was to Radharani, you can imagine. Who will not like to be close to Radharani? Lalita, Vishaka, they were all close. But his position was on Radharani's finger. He was always standing on the finger of Radharani, and whatever was happening in the divine mellow of Shringar Ras, he was witnessing with so much closeness. You can see the vibrations, the mood, the emotions, the activity, the leela. He was the closest in the whole pastime. And he naturally wanted to go back with Radha and Shyam Sundar. But they both said, no, you have to stay back. You have to speak our glories to the material world. So he stayed back. And we all know that he had to speak only once. He was not having multiple lecture schedules. 400 Bhagavatam Katha, 500 Bhagavatam Katha, 524 Bhagavatam Katha. It's not like that. He was simply had to perform only once. He heard many times, but he spoke only once. But he chose to remain behind to serve the Lord. Because when you serve the Lord, you bind the Lord more than when you are physically close to the Lord. There are so many stories in Vrindavan of great sages. Like one of the sages was playing with Srinathji in physical form, Kumban Ji. He was one of the Ashtachap, 8 great sakhas of Srinathji. And whole day, Srinathji would be in the DT form and also in the Pratyaksha form. Very bold. So, Srinathji would be playing with one of these, all of them, but would play whole day with Kumbandaji. And in the night, Kumbandaji was appointed to sing Shayan Bhajan for Srinathji. So, whole day he is playing with him, and suddenly at Shayan time he is leaving and running to the altar. There is Kumbandas, why are you leaving me? He said, no, I have seva. I have seva to sing for you at Shayan. He said, what is there? I am with you here. He said, my Lord, if I am playing with you, anytime you can get up and go, you can disappear. It's up to you. You are an independent Lord. You appear to be playing with me, but anytime you can vanquish. It's your leela that you always run away. But when I am singing for you, following my Guru's order, and singing for you at Shayan Arti, you will be there, because you are always bound by the service of your devotees. When you are doing service, the Lord gets bound. When you are just enjoying with him, he may disappear. And he has disappeared, right? You are playing with him, suddenly he has disappeared. From last Leela, from many places, he has disappeared. But when you are serving him, you cannot leave him. He is bound by you. So, I remember that such situations of disrespecting Jay and Vijay, Jay Vijay disrespecting, or some people disrespecting the Kumaras has happened many times in the past. People seeing the four boys naked and not offering Dandavat has happened many times. So one of the times, three Mahasatis of Vaikuntha, they came to meet Lord Vishnu. And that time, these Kumaras were playing there near the gate of Vaikuntha. And of course, suppose I am coming to temple and I am in a hurry to come to on time to Bhagavatam class, and I see some children playing. I will not notice even, I will not even notice them. What to speak of offering pranams to them? They are playing, let them play. I am going for Bhagavatam class. So like that, they were hurriedly and trying to enter the gates of Vaikuntha, and they didn't offer pranams to the four Kumaras, who were the most elevated and most aged sages in the form of 4-5-year-old boys. So they cursed them, the three Mahasatis, that you will go down to the material world and take birth on earth. So they were like shocked. And suddenly Vishnu came out, immediately. And they were like wondering what happened. So Vishnu said, don't worry, it is not a curse, it is my blessing upon you. It is my desire that you go down and you take birth in the material world to allow three Mahasatis to take birth from you. So they understood and they went down and took birth. One of them became the wife of Himalaya. What is her name? Menka or Manika? Whatever. And she gave to Mahasati Parvati, gave birth. One of them became the wife of Janak Maharaj and gave birth to Sita Devi. And one of them became Kalavati, who married the Suchandra. Kalavati came from the Yagya sacrifice of Bhalanandana in Kanpur, Kanya Kubja. And Kalavati married the Suchandra and performed tapasya. And she took birth in next life as Tirtida Devi at Mukhara village near Govardhan, at the house of Indusain and Mukharai Devi. And then eventually she gave birth to Radharani. So Vishnu wanted them to come down to the material world to be the instruments of the Laukik appearance of these three Mahasatis. There are always two kinds of appearances. One is Paralaukik, divine appearance, and one is Laukik. For example, when Jamuna Devi came, there's a description in Garga Samhita how she came in a chariot of 100,000 wheels with millions of golden bells, with millions of sakhis, and a chariot which is like a city. She came down crossing the Brahmajyoti, Vaikuntha, Viraja river, at the chosen Brahmanda, entered the Brahmarandra, and then she came down and she got separated from, so she was joined before by Viraja and Ganga, then she got separated from them, and she went to Kalinda, and Ganga Devi went to Gomukh, and then they both appeared. This is called as transcendental appearance. But in the material sense, she became the daughter of Surya Dev also, right? Surya Dev is her father. So this is how it is. Every time this happens. The Lord can come on his own, but he also comes through some mother and some father always. So Laukik appearance and Paralaukik appearance. So this is how the three Mahasatis appeared, and all the Leelas happened their way. So actually it was his divine will and not curse on them. Now another thing happened one time was in Surya Vamsha, there was King Dilip. Right? Sagar, King Sagar was there, and his next generation was, I think, Dilip. Dilip went to Swargaloka once, and there was a divine cow of Goloka called Kamdhenu. Kamdhenu was created by the sidelong glances of Krishna and Shyam Sundarji in Goloka. When they were looking at each other with so much love, with sidelong glances, it's called as a Shakti Punja, Urja Punja, the divine energy of both their eyesight, whatever, nazar, came together, and from that the Kamdhenu cow was born. And then from her every rome, every hair follicle from our body, from every particle of our body, millions and trillions of cows were created. And the whole Vrindavan, now it is called as Golok Vrindavan, but that time it was Vrindavan, that was fully covered with cows, much more than the people in Golok Vrindavan. Everywhere cows and cows were only there. They were similarly like that one Kamdhenu. That is the time when Krishna named his Loka as Goloka Vrindavan. Because when you call Goloka or any Loka, when that particular species is predominating participant of that Loka, that is why Golok is called as Goloka. So that Kamdhenu is free to move everywhere. She was at Vasishta's house and she would travel. So she was at Swarga Loka. And Dilip Raja went hurriedly and forgot to offer Dandavat Pranam to Kamdhenu. So Kamdhenu did not curse him. The curse came upon him. And he just did his business and he went back. Naturally to Ayodhya, because Ayodhya from where he had come. In those days, the inhabitants of Prithvi Loka would travel to Swarga Loka, and Swarga Loka Devata will also travel to earth. Kali Yuga it has stopped. So, for a long time he did not get son. He became Niputrika. She was wondering, he went to Vasishta Muni. He was the eternal Guru of Surya Vamsha, right from the day one, the first Manu. He was still Guru. So he went to Vasishta Muni and asked, Maharaj, I am not having any children. So Vasishta Muni sat in the dhyan and he understood that you offended Kamdhenu. That is why you have been afflicted by the curse of not having a son or a child. So now what to do? I didn't intend to do that. I am a great Go Bhakta. In fact, ironically, he was a great devotee of cow. But somehow, unknowingly, he offended by not offering Dandavat. So he said, now what to do? He said, now we have to serve Kamdhenu, but she is not here right now. But her daughter Nandini is with me. You serve her, take care of her. So that way you will be coming over the offense of Kamdhenu and you will get son. So as he was already a great devotee of cows, he had no difficulty in serving Kamdhenu. He took really wonderful care of Kamdhenu, her daughter Nandini. And he was released of the curse. And then he got Raghu as his son. Raghu became his son, and the whole Vamsha after that, nobody called it Surya Vamsha, they called it Raghu Vamsha only. Imagine. So, one should be careful and conscious of the people around and the environment to avoid offense unknowingly. There is no harm in taking a long breath and looking around, and if required, offer obeisances. There is no harm, even if your obeisances go waste, it will go to Vishnu, no problem about that. But if you do not offer, maybe or may not be, it will be considered an offense. These are the stories which are proof of that. So, that is why devotees are always advised to be always respectful even to the ant. When we offer pranam to the temple, we are offering to Prabhupada, to the devotees around. But also we should add that all living entities who are dwelling in the temple atmosphere, dandavat to them also. We don't know who is residing here in subtle form. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj had said that there are divine personalities residing in this temple room of Radha Gopinath. There is tremendous amount of concentrated spiritual energy in this temple. And we come for various reasons, but we are all participating in that energy, Shakti Punja. When we are coming here, we are getting unknowingly afflicted or affected or overcome with that spiritual energy. So to that also it is better to offer pranams before we enter the place, so that we have done our duties of offering our gratitude and obeisances and pranams to all the living entities. Especially in spiritual life or lifestyle, we are expected to accept the blame for the fault of the followers. When there is success, we give all credits to the subordinates. But when there is apparent failure, we take the blame on us. And that is a sign of an exemplary ideal leader. So Vishnu is exemplifying here the ideal leader's position. Because he knows that they are his servants, they work as per his guidance and he is responsible for everything what they do. And apparently here they have offended the great sages. And he is watching that if I don't go in time, the situation is becoming more intense. It is becoming more tense. So immediately he appeared there. He could have called them inside, but he only came out. So that the further damage or intensification of the situation will not take place. Prabhupada says that, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Name Bhaktya Pranashati, Pratijanihi Kunteya, Name Bhaktya Pranashati. My devotee will perish. So he also feels responsible to not allow his devotees to perish. So he came in and immediately said, yes, my dear sages, whatever you have said is right, my devotees have offended you, and now you can curse them whatever way you want. The beauty of this whole story is the Lord is so magnanimous, he doesn't feel, I didn't know only what's happening. These foolish people, they shouldn't have done this. He didn't say that. He immediately accepted that they are my servants, I am responsible for their behavior, and now whatever you feel appropriate, you can curse them. And the glory of Jai Vijay, they are saying, such a wonderful statement they made. They said, we accept your curse, no problem. But please bless us that we don't forget the Lord in whatever position we are. We will go down to the earth and now we are going to become demons, and then Lord will come down and perform his pastimes. And we will be the most famous villains of the whole creation for all the history to come. But we don't want to forget you. That means when Hiranyakashipu is doing all the atrocities, Hiranyaksha is doing all the atrocities, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, Dantabakra, Shishupal, whatever they are doing externally, they are actually remembering the Lord constantly. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, if you read 10th canto, SANATANA Dharmini purports of Shishupal's talk, he is translating all Shishupal talks in a positive sense. If you read that, you will understand whatever cursing words Shishupal is using, Chakravarti Pad is interpreting, it is not cursing, he is glorifying the Lord actually. And he is giving exact meaning of the word in the real sense. So this is all Leela. But in the Leela, when the demons are devotees, the devotees are devotees, and the Lord also is wonderfully interacting with them and exchanging rasa. One of the 13 rasas is exchanging with them. So we are very fortunate that our acharyas are explaining all this to us. Otherwise, as children we were hearing, Hiranyakashipu was the most ghastly demon. The Lord came in the most voracious form and killed him. And nobody should become like Hiranyakashipu. They are all worst examples in the whole material creation. But when we become serious devotees and we come across pure devotees in our life, which is our fortune. We have come across Prabhupada, although physically we didn't meet him, but we have met him millions of times through his books, through his teachings, through his Vani. And we have come to understand so many intricacies of so many wonderful pastimes, which otherwise we couldn't have understood. In childhood we also heard the story, but we didn't know the intricacies. The last point, what I would like to make is, whenever there is a quarrel, especially with devotees, or anybody else, or in the family, wherever we are, seniors should always intervene and extinguish the fire. It is our duty not to allow devotees to keep on fighting, or not to allow family members to keep on fighting. Or in society, people are fighting in society annual meetings, and we should not just walk off, or we should try to extinguish the quarrel in our capacity, whatever possible. But watching the fight peacefully, and nowadays taking videos of that and putting on the social media, is the worst thing one can ever do. Actually, in the fight, people may be killing each other, they may be hitting each other, injuring each other. There can be blood, there can be hit on the head, there can be so many things if you don't intervene at right time. And that also people are taking video shootings and putting. So, who will intervene? One who has compassion in the heart. he will not like the fight to continue. Even though it is between the worst of materialistic people, or with society people, or with family people, or best of all his devotees, best people in the world. If they are fighting, out of compassion, the senior devotees will go and try to pacify. Knowing that even if they are right or wrong, who cares? But they are offending each other and both of their spiritual life will be ruined. So Vishnu is doing that here. He is trying to protect both of them. But more it is, Prabhupada is saying, more he is protecting his own servants. He doesn't want them to be vanquished completely by the curse of. So now the curse is being uttered in front of Vishnu. So it is like moderated or made mild or diluted, whatever you say. So that is the Lord is taking that position. So we should always think that compassion should prevail rather than just be heartless spectator. And whatever potential future damage should be prevented by senior devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And few words about the word Padmanabha. What is it mentioned here? Arvindanama. The Lord is called as Padmanabha because from his navel lotus comes. Because this lotus example is always there. Everywhere lotus feet, lotus eyes. So it denotes that the thing that you are talking about is beyond the three modes of material nature. Tribunatita. And lotus is always in the mud, surrounded by mud, taking nutrition from mud, but remaining completely unaffected by any means by the mud. Right? So Lord's existence is like that. And second person is always addressed with Kamalini, Lakshmi. She is standing in the lotus, carrying a lotus. So when she was carrying a lotus and walking over Jamuna, all the lotus flowers blossomed. Because our Swami is now going to Nandagaon, Gokul, to welcome Krishna, to create Rama Kridasthala, to create the opulence. We should all blossom. Although there is not time to blossom, but they blossom in the midnight. So not time to blossom. When they blossom, when sun comes. But when Lakshmi Devi came, they blossomed. So, I remember, I must tell you, because it's good to remember Vrindavan. There is one deity called Nritya Gopal in Vrindavan, in Nandagaon. Right on the way to Ashishwar Mahadev is a deity called Nritya Gopal. Very beginning on right side. And if you go to the temple, there is a lotus in the lotus feet of the Lord on the dorsal side of the foot. Lord is standing like this. So one foot is like this, right foot is like this, half bent. And one left foot is standing on normally. On that foot there is a full grown lotus is there. In the store, whatever you can say, Pasha. And that deity is a special deity that all the Nandagaon Goswamis who are supposed to be initiated in service to Krishna Balaram in the altar of Nandagaon, they get their Brahmana initiation and initiation to enter in the service of Krishna Balaram in that temple. Before that, nobody can enter. But at the age of 5, their boy, their son, Suputra, will be taken to the temple, and the previous acharyas who were previous senior Rasa Brahmanas are there, who are the Sevaites of Krishna Balaram, they will do the initiation, they will do the mantras, and the boy will start going to the altar from next day. So our dear Ramesh Chandra Goswami narrates the story that his time was coming closer for initiation at the Trigopal temple. So he was worried that entering the deity Garbhagriha means waking up at 2:30 in the morning. You have to go in the altar at 3 in the morning, and 3:30 is the Mangalarti of Krishna Balaram. I hope you know. He was always wondering, oh, my time of sleeping will go away, how will I wake up? So he got initiation in that temple of Nritya Gopalji, and he went to his mother and said, Mother, how will I wake up from tomorrow? How will I wake up from tomorrow? I don't have any confidence that I will wake up. The mother said, so nicely she said, this is the devotion of Vrindavan. It's a matter of fact, she said, you go to Yashodamai from outside the altar, and you pray to her, the mother, please help me to wake up early and serve Krishna Bhagavan. The very next day he woke up at 2:30 in the morning. And from there, whenever his service came to Krishna Bhagavan, he had no difficulty in getting at 2:30 in the morning. As a small boy, now he is 78, 80-year-old. But he tells the story that what is the power of praying to the mother of the Lord? She blessed because she is the authority of serving Krishna Bhagavan. You take blessings from her, then you can please Krishna Bhagavan by your service. So this is just a remembrance I want to share with you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. See, his question is, the master is supposed to go and protect the servants when they make mistakes. But today in the material world, the servants never obey the master. So still the master is obliged to protect the servants. In the spiritual sense, if you're talking about temple context, when we come in temple as a brahmachari or as a devotee or as anybody who is committed, then for spiritual protection, the spiritual master or the counselor or the temple authorities will go out of the way and protect that devotee. Because in spiritual world, even if one day you say, "Oh my Lord, I am yours," the Lord says, "I am your eternal protector. Even if you forget, I will protect you." So as servants of Lord Ram, we shall also continue our protective mood, compassionate mood, even though our so-called subordinates in temple are now not obeying the order of the authorities. In the material world, whatever I can understand is, whatever degree of surrender is there, that much protection will be given. Because whatever degree of surrender is not there, they are not going to listen to you. So even if you go to protect, they will not listen to you. But in the highest sense, the compassion doesn't discriminate between devotees, non-devotees, obedient people, non-obedient people. The compassion never discriminates. So if you want to be advanced devotees, then we should not differentiate. We should protect them. Even in the karmi situation in the corporate world, if somebody is working under you, even in the corporate world, the training programs, they tell you that when there is failure, the master accepts the failure. The leader accepts the failure. And when there is success, he distributes and glorifies everybody for the success to the team members. So this is true in the material world also. So if there is a failure in the project, the master will take them aside and tell them whatever is to be corrected. But he doesn't blame them for their failure. He takes the blame on him. Which means, in the essence, in the end, compassion should never discriminate good or bad people. Compassion should be always without discrimination. Am I right, Prabhuji? Anybody wants to like to share? Yeah, I understand. So that is material world. That is why we are in temple. We learn in temple. That's why we want to become devotees. We want to become spiritual, so that we don't behave like corporate people. I know, I'm also in the corporate, but still we keep speaking these things so that we can improve our consciousness, improve our chetana, and become an example. We don't follow wrong things because they are happening. Most prevalent in the world is wrong things, so we don't follow wrong things. Even though one boy is sitting and standing and saying 2 into 2 equal to 4, and the whole sabha is saying 2 plus 2 is 5, we still follow 2 plus 2 is 4, because even if it is minority, it is truth. So spiritual education is the truth, and although it is in minority in the world, we still follow it. Because we want to be spiritual, we want